Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of work in between Hexagon and Daz Studio. Something that I'm working on since, I don't know, ever, is editing a good pair of wedge shields. And why this is so difficult, I'm going to show you. It has to do with how when you take a model from Hexagon and put it into Daz Studio and use the transfer utility tool like I usually do, how it transfers the weight mapping from onto the model that you import. So this is not really a tutorial. I'm not really explaining how to solve this. I'm just showing what happens. So right now I'm just working on the base model that you can see. You can see it that much. I'm just editing the base model. I'm trying to create a wedge heel, just the sole of the shoe, because I can reuse. Or basically, I'm reusing the sole that I already made for new shoes whenever I have a new idea or whenever I have a new concept of a shoe that I want to put in. But one thing that I have problems with is creating wedges, and that is because of how Daz Studio is applying the weight mapping. And later in the video I will actually show Daz Studio and how the weight mapping is applied. So we're looking like a bit on everything. Right now I'm working on the first iteration of the sole, and we will go through multiple iterations. Basically I'm loading this into Daz Studio and checking basically for the angle, checking for the how the base model responds to, how the sole responds to the bent foot, because I'm working on the flat foot here, and obviously with the heel I'm having a bent foot in Hexagon in Daz Studio. My bad. I keep throwing these two together. Anyway, yeah, we are basically I'm editing the whole model. This is just basically extrusion tool on the part of the foot, a little bit of welding, and yeah, minor manipulations to get everything in shape. And we're just about done with the first iteration. I believe we will jump into Daz Studio in a bit to just check up on it. And spoiler alert, I had to do 3 or 4 iterations because of the angle of the sole of the part that I'm currently working on, so that it actually fits the a pre-made post that I made for my for Genesis 2. So you can also make a post and save it as a post yourself. If you want to know how this works, I can show you in another video. Just tell me in the comments, and I will make a video about how to save custom poses in Daz Studio after I brushed up on this. Anyway, you can see that the shoe isn't touching the ground yet. It isn't as complete as I wanted to, and you can already see a distortion at the bottom of the sole. So basically the part under the toes is fine, but the part under the foot is distorted, and that is due to how Hexagon is putting weights on the model after implementation. So I'm building a bit of a helping structure here so I can adjust the angle better. And yeah, after putting that into place, I could just adjust the foot as needed. And you can see that even after smoothing down the model, the base sole is flat, but it doesn't stay that way. Rather, it changes. It gets uneven and it gets bumpy. and we're going to check that out in detail in Daz Studio as well, just before we go into the final render. So yeah, I will probably have a bit of a rough ending there, but that is due to today's how I put out my workload today over the day. Yeah, and you can see that there's like a big bump under the foot, so basically had to pull out the front as well. And here we have a kind of working but not really great working first heel. So I'm working on a few smaller details that I just want to fix, and now we're going into Daz in actually just double time. So implementing using transfer utility, we get the heel, we get a few bumps, and as I said, these bumps, these artifacts are due to how the weight mapping is distributed. So touching the model, we don't have any weight mapping. This is normal in case this happens to you. This is because we're not in the bone yet. So we can see that the geometry editor is set up. We have two geometries, and you can already see an overlap between the two parts. This is something that so I can either try to set this here, which is I should whenever I start editing this, I should start at this point. Make sure I edit this correctly, and then we check the actual weight mapping of this, and you can see that there's a bleed out, there's like a bleed over between the toes and the foot. You can see that the foot is bleeding into the toes. You can already also see that the toes are kind of bleeding into the foot, and this is what gives for the map. And what I'm showing next is what happens if you just set the weight mapping to 100%. You get your original form basically, but there is a lot of differentiation between the parts, and this is why we can't do that. So I'm still working on a solution for that, but yeah, just so you know, if you set the weight mapping to 100%, you will definitely in all kinds of clothing have a lot of distortion. So this is why I usually try to map this and try to paint this with a few percentages like 0.3, 0.2, so that I can work this out in detail. So you can already see the big difference between the parts, and this doesn't get better. Working on more details, this doesn't get better at all. It just gets bigger. So yeah. And that's it, basically what I wanted to show. This is basically what I'm currently working on, working out these details, learning about these details in Hexagon and Daz. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's a render in the ad where I actually used these wedge heels, so or the soles. So enjoy this, and as always, stay healthy, stay safe, stay healthy as I am at least, and see you guys around.